You are watching the Notre Dame Recruiting Update. Thank you for joining us, as always, this Thursday afternoon show. So great to be back with you guys as we travel through the month of November, getting close to Thanksgiving now, Mike. Excited to hear about your Thanksgiving plans, but before all of that, we have a quarterback. How about that, Mike? Excited to talk about that a little bit as Notre Dame looks a lot more favorable in the QB department now. Guys, as we get into the show today, please hit the like button for me and subscribe to our channel. If you have not done so, I mentioned it at the end of our show last week. And as always, guys, you have to be a subscriber to get in our comment section. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you're going to want to do so you can get active in those comments. And we want to see you guys over on that side as well. Let us know what you think about Minchie, the quarterback, as well as everything else going on in the world of Notre Dame recruiting, the world of college football as we creep closer to the end of the season, the college football playoff, all that fun stuff. But Mike, we creep closer to Thanksgiving here as well. I want to know how your week is going. And, to get started, I want to know your opinion on the best way to do a turkey for Thanksgiving. Fried is my favorite. What are you guys doing, Mike?
The one that I don't have to cook. How about that? I got a few more years until I'm cooking the turkey. So I'm the green bean casserole guy. That is my specialty Thanksgiving dish. So I just do that every year. And that's my thing. And I'm looking forward to it. So we will not have a show next week. So no recruiting show next week. Yeah, Thanksgiving. So but we'll make up for it. We'll do a couple shows signing day week. So how about that?
No doubt. I love it. I know you're a green bean aficionado when you're making the green beans. What's your favorite side to eat?
Stuffing. I'm a huge stuffing guy. And I don't think that's a popular opinion. Like Thanksgiving side, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I love stuffing. And I just, because I think it just mixes with everything else on your plate. Like it mixes well with that green bean casserole, and you can put it with the turkey, and it's just fantastic. But sides in general, baked beans. Baked beans. Love baked beans. And French fries.
I've never come around to beans. It's a texture thing for me.
It's a magical fruit, man. It's a magical fruit.
I don't know about all of that, but I like.
They do say the more you eat it. Never mind.
I'm with you though. I think stuffing is the best side, and for Notre Dame, this has been the best week with quarterback news that we have had in quite some time. I want to talk about Minchie in just a minute, but as we get started with the show tonight, I want to talk about some 2024 targets that visited or that are going to be visiting this weekend. Let's go through a couple guys here. Let's start with Jason Robinson, already committed at the moment to Southern California, wide receiver out of that class of 2024. What do you expect out of his visit and where he stands at the moment?
I always like to tease you, Trey, when you say tonight. Like, are you in London right now? Like, is it?
Yeah, you know what? It's 12:05 where I'm at right now, and I know for East Coast listeners, it's 1:05. So post noon.
It's tonight. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So a few notable 2024 targets on campus. Like this recruiting weekend for Notre Dame, there's a ton of players, but many are like 2025, like no offers at this point, like under the radar guys who, if I look back at this visitor list in a year or two, might be big time players, but just aren't at this point. So there's really 3 2024 targets of note, and Jason Robinson, a 4-star USC wide receiver commit, is certainly notable. 5'11", 160 pounds, so he's not a big guy, but he is dynamic. He's from Long Beach Poly High School out in California. I believe he's actually from Houston. So Long Beach Poly is a very pro-USC school, but again, I mean, it says he's from Houston on his On3 page, so it's not like he is a Southern Cal kid. Or, I don't know when he moved to the LA area, but still, it's not like that's at least the case. So he is committed to USC, but he was just at Utah recently. Notre Dame's had really good contact with him for the past several months. Notre Dame offered him back on St. Patrick's Day. So I know his communication with Notre Dame receivers coach Chancey Stuckey has been really good. Over the past several months. He was looking at visiting for the Notre Dame BYU game, which is, of course, in Las Vegas. It was on the West Coast. Been an easier trip for him to get to. But I think it's he wasn't able to make that. I think it's worked out nicely that he is able to visit this weekend. And I know his younger brother is a 2025 athlete with a handful of Power 5 scholarship offers. So Uh, Take them both, definitely. Both outstanding prospects. And yeah, this is a good one. Jason Robinson, again, he's not a big guy, but just that speed, the playmaking ability, and you always love flipping a prospect from your rival. So, yeah, certainly a notable visitor here.
Yeah, it would be a big get here for Notre Dame. And, he got the offer on St. Patrick's Day. I think that means a little bit more. I mean, that's Notre Dame's prime day there. So would be huge to get Robinson out of Texas and now Southern California as well here. Let's talk about some of these other 2024 guys, some other skill guys that we've mentioned in the past here. Aeneas Williams, another guy going to be visiting this weekend. Where does he stand at this point, in his recruitment?
So he was a big visitor for Notre Dame's Clemson game. And he's back 2 weeks later. I think that is notable. See the On3 recruiting prediction machine, 94.2%. I've logged a prediction for him to land at Notre Dame. I know others have followed suit across the industry. I had wrote when I put in this prediction, I think on Monday or so, that watch out if he visits Notre Dame for the Boston College game. He's confirmed to be visiting for the Boston College game. I think Notre Dame's looking really good here. This offer list, I think I talked about him a bunch on our YouTube shows about just this recruitment. So I'll just do a quick recap. In April, he visited Notre Dame. He had offers from Oregon and I think maybe Missouri at that point. It's just a couple offers. And it's like, all right. No small offers at this point. Just got a couple notable Power Fives. It's like, those committable at this point. Like what? That's just kind of a little bit of a weird recruitment. And then he picks up an offer from Alabama. Like Alabama was like the third or fourth school to offer him. And then the next day he goes to Notre Dame, gets the offer, and then look at it since. He's just blown up. So as the kids say, went from 0 to 100 real quick, or maybe not kids anymore. Maybe adults say that. I don't know. Time is flying. But absolutely big time prospect, number 140 overall player in the country, top 15 running back in America, and shades of like Kyron Williams, who is a fantastic running back for Notre Dame, of course. He is that smaller, low center of gravity tailback with just dynamic traits of, when you put the ball in his hands, he's just a playmaker, but also very good out in space and outstanding as a pass catcher, slot receiver, punt return. I mean, he's not playing the best competition outside of St. Louis and Missouri. Like he's not in that, like Missouri football, St. Louis is obviously, going to be the top in the state. So he's a little bit more on the outskirts of the state, but I mean, the production, like I always say, if you're not playing against great competition, what you should do is absolutely dominate. And that's what Aeneas Williams is doing. I like Notre Dame here. I think they'll get him. He did an interview with On3's Chad Simmons this week and said that he's looking to commit before senior season. Here's the thing about saying that. There's a lot of time that's before senior season. It could be tomorrow. It could be in March. Could be December, January. Who knows? I think it'll be sooner than later that Aeneas Williams pops. And I do think that Notre Dame would be the school if he commits to, if he had to pick right now.
I see some comments already. Keith Wegland getting in there, talking about the Bowen brothers, talking about the class of 2026 already. Love the comment there. Adam B with a good question. And as well, John Watson, crazy take alert there in our comment section. Thank you guys for joining us on that side. Keep getting your comments in here, and we're going to try to get to some questions at the end as well. So get those questions in to the comment section. For a guy like Aeneas Williams, you said it, 0 to 100. And we've seen that with a few different recruits that we've talked about on this show. But for Aeneas, what made that happen? What made Alabama and some of these other schools take interest all of a sudden?
Yeah. He camped. So, I mean, you hear about, these guys and I know his 7-on-7 coach, Dwayne Carter, is telling me and putting out there on Twitter, he's the best running back in the country. It's like, if I had $1 every time I heard that, I'd be rich. But I mean, he certainly but then you see him in person, he's like, and you're like, all right, yeah, this dude's the real deal. I don't know about number one running back in the country, but he's certainly one of the best. So we went and camped at Alabama, got the offer at Irish Invasion June, was that 5th or 6th? I was there. He was outstanding. He was one of the best few players there. I don't think we named him our offensive MVP, but he was certainly in consideration on the day for us at Blue and Gold. And at a camp without pads, obviously running backs, they're not showcased as running backs. They're more showcased as you just see their athleticism, those traits, and them as receivers. Dude looked the part, and you see him in the t-shirt and shorts, and just like dude's built well. Just a fantastic football player, man. And how about that one-hand snag right there? You like to see that.
You love the athleticism, and could be one of the top running backs in the country. Could be a Notre Dame Fighting Irish. What's the plural for that, Mike? I've been meaning to ask you. I went to Alabama. We had a tough time with that as well. You got your Clemson Tigers. You got your Kentucky Wildcats. What's a Notre Dame Fighting Irish
player?
Fighting Irish player. Okay, we'll go with that.
I never thought about it.
I like it. One guy trying to join that group.
He's Irish. How about that? He's Irish.
He's Irish. There we go.
He'd be Irish. Perfect. I think that's kind of what we say.
And we talked about the size with a guy like Jason Robinson earlier. One guy that does not struggle with size, Carter Nelson, 6'5", 205 pounds, also out of this class of 2024. Also visiting this weekend out of Ainsworth High School. 4-star. What do you expect out of his visit?
I thought you were about to go to transition to an ad read right there, and I was like, man, this would be impressive, Trey. Yeah, we'll hear from Mike Brown in a bit, though. Yeah, Carter Nelson, 6'5", 205 pounds. How about this? Plays 8-man football. He doesn't even play 11-man football, 8-man football. It's really interesting. Highly ranked player. See, On3's own rankings are a bit higher on him than what the industry standard, the On3 consensus says. That On3 consensus equally weighs all 4 recruiting websites between ESPN, On3, 24/7, and Rivals. So just wanted to mention that for folks who are maybe new and don't know what the On3 versus what does it mean, On3 or On3 consensus. And I kind of like in between those two, you guys have this cycle. So it's kind of showing you how early it is. And I want to say the end there is like up that line goes all the way up to pros, or like their college football's done. So that's kind of where he's at right now, as a junior in high school. Yeah. Notre Dame has a tight end committed in Jack Larson from Charlotte Catholic, and it looks like Notre Dame is going to take a second in this cycle. Brady Prescorn from Michigan. What is it? Adams High School, or he's in Adams, Michigan. I can't remember which one's which, but he's the one of them. And then Carter Nelson, Notre Dame just offered here recently. He was going to visit Notre Dame for the Clemson game. That visit fell through. So yeah, here's 8-man ball. So he's made it to camp. He's going to make it to campus this weekend. So sorry, I just got a text coming in. I'm very excited about taking this text in a little bit. Sorry, I can't even say what it is. So I don't like being the guy. Oh, I can't tell you guys what I just got. But sorry,
it's okay.
Just slipped. I was looking at my phone. But yeah, Nelson is a really interesting player. Obviously, 6'5", 205. I mean, he's kind of guy like if he were playing, in Georgia or Ohio or Florida, it's like he would get noticed. But a lot easier. Like I haven't been to Ainsworth, Nebraska. I don't like it's not a big town. It's not a big town in Nebraska, so it's not like college coaches are flocking there all the time, but he's still got a ton of offers. And again, Notre Dame, one of those, offering him here recently.
Man, 8-man football, how does a coach even notice a guy like this? And to follow up, I guess, how does a guy like this make the transition to not just obviously a higher level of competition, but, instead of playing against 7 other guys, having to play against 11 other guys?
Sorry, I was responding to that text, Trey.
No, you're
good. What would you say?
This 8-man football here, and I'm assuming at some point down the line, guys, we are going to discuss what is going on in this Texas.
It's nothing crazy. It's just an opportunity for me to meet someone I haven't met yet. It's not Goolsby. I see people in the comment section talking about Goolsby. Oh my gosh!
We had a couple texts this week back and forth about joking around. Arch Manning was the quarterback that was.
Oh my gosh, that was funny.
Yeah, no, not Arch Manning and not
That was
Goolsby.
me, Trey, and our producer Chris were texting. They were like, "Who's this quarterback that might be going to Notre Dame?" Because the other day, rumors were going crazy
Yeah.
on social media about is Notre Dame flipping? Everybody thought Notre Dame was going to flip somebody at quarterback, just like just boom, he's going to flip. And I think the news was a little bit overhyped, because it was just a decommitment. And then the news of the official visit for Kenny Minchie. But still, I do think Kenny Minchie is probably going to end up a Notre Dame commit, which I think is who we're talking about next.
We are.
But
So real quick before we move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So interesting, Mike, looking at 8-man football there. We saw it in the tape.
Okay.
How does a guy like that make the transition to playing not just against competition that is obviously much better than what he's seeing at the 8-man level, but with more players on the field too?
Trey, that was outstanding host work right there, because I can go off the rails, and I appreciate you bringing me back in. I was about to talk about our group text, which is no one cares about. I don't know. I don't think I've ever covered a recruit playing 8-man football. This is a first for me, so I got no idea. Yeah. I got no idea. I mean, catching the football, running, hitting, like that's all going to be the same. For me, my opinion, it's more of the talent level competition. Like I can't imagine the 8-man football and rural Nebraska is great competition. So that would be the bigger thing for me. It's just an adjustment. And if he's a talented player and he's a smart young man willing to learn, it shouldn't be a problem.
It's going to be a fun adjustment to watch here because, like I said, a very unique deal here with the tight end. They're out of Nebraska. But let's talk about the hot news of the week here. 2023 quarterback Kenny Minchie did decommit from the University of Pittsburgh and is set to visit this weekend as well. We got some video of Minchie here. An exciting prospect. And Mike, obviously excited about any kind of quarterback that we can talk about with Notre Dame in 2023.
Yeah, I appreciate QB Country for providing this video. But yeah, he's a really good looking player. I was talking to his quarterback's coach, his private trainer, and the number one word he used to describe him, he just said over and over again, smooth. That's a pretty good word to describe a quarterback. Just when you watch him on tape, just kind of makes everything look easy. It's like, man, is he even trying out there? That's a compliment. Smooth release. He's been trained well. I really like when you see him, he's built really well. And I think this is junior tape. He only played in a few games as a senior. He had a shoulder surgery, or excuse me, just shoulder injury. He doesn't need surgery, but only played a few games. And I checked, talking to multiple sources, he's fine. It doesn't require surgery. It's just gonna heal over time, so he should be good. But yeah, just highly productive. And I don't think he's that tall. In terms of being 6'3", 6'4". He's more in that 6'1" to 6'2". But he looks like he's built. He's a physical young man. So I don't think he's this dynamic athlete. But when he is going to tuck it, I mean, yeah, he can. He's going to be able to take a hit. So, yeah, just watching him, I mean, he just throws a very pretty ball and he's accurate. Again, just look at he's just smooth. Everything just looks easy. I really like this play. Actually, I thought it was a different one, but yeah, just very good pocket movement. Again, just everything that's the one I was thinking of. Everything just kind of looks easy. Just quick little subtle movements in the pocket to just find that one more second. Guys, I think that he could be a really good player for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the ball skills here, and the placement of some of these throws too is incredible.
Oh, that ball is
my goodness,
impressive. He's a great
really
player.
A lot of zip on it too, but he was committed to another school in Pittsburgh. There, what went into the decommitment, and where is his interest level at with Notre Dame right now?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the decommitment, I don't want to speak for Kenny, but so this is my opinion. When you look at Pitt's offense hasn't been great this season. I know they were fantastic last year. Pitt won. I think they won the ACC if my memory serves me correctly.
They did.
But it's not like Notre Dame has been outstanding this season either. Like, I mean, they're 7-3 with some bad losses, but I think if you just sit back, and if I'm Kenny Minchie, it's like, I loved Pitt, right? Like, there's that loyalty aspect with Pitt. Like, they were on me early, but I go to a school called Pope John Paul II. You got the word Pope in the high school. That's a pretty good indicator that it's going to translate well to Notre Dame, right? And like if it's like Pitt versus Notre Dame, if you just stack those up, like I'm sorry for Pitt fans, like it just doesn't. Notre Dame athletically and academically, it just doesn't stack up. So I think if you kind of just think about there's that loyalty aspect, isn't like that's great and all, but at some point you have to make the best decision for yourself. And I think for Kenny Minchie, probably just came to the realization that it's Notre Dame. And I want to mention it's not a done deal. Maybe he goes to Notre Dame and he hates it. Or he's been there before. He did camp for the staff in June of 2021. So what's going to be really cool this weekend? I don't know. I want to throw out there it's not a done deal. He's not committed to Notre Dame yet. But all signs seem to be trending towards it's basically a near lock. Like unless it's a disaster this weekend, he should be going end up at Notre Dame. And I want to just let's take a step back. Trey, we've been doing this show for what, 2 months? 2 months now?
Crazy to think, yeah.
This Thursday afternoon show. The feeling, just the general feeling about Notre Dame's 2023 recruiting class has been it's outstanding. Running back, receiver, you got a great tight end, the offensive line. You wish you had Keon Keeley, but still, it's a strong defensive line. Love these linebackers. This is Notre Dame's best cornerback and safety class on paper since what? You guys tell me in the comments section. It is an outstanding defensive back class. But the quarterback. What about the quarterback spot? It's like it's hard to feel amazing about this class without the quarterback. But you get Kenny Minchie. He's not a top 30 player. He's not a 5-star. He is going to play in the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. He's a 4-star guy. All the ranking site, maybe Rivals tells him as 3-star. They'll figure it out. I mean, you feel really good about this, especially Trey going into the Clemson game. We were talking about Roch Chalowowski, a UCLA baseball commit with a New Mexico State offer in football. We were talking about him.
I thought you just made him up, to be honest, Mike.
I'm sorry, Trey?
I thought you just made him up.
Roch didn't make it to Notre Dame, then he ended up signing with UCLA. But like that's who we were talking about. And I'm like, I know like sources were kind of excited about him and the possibility of him, but guys, this is Notre Dame. Like you take him and another quarterback and a transfer, but like this is a quarterback you would get excited about, like, or maybe if you're not even excited about Kenny Minchie, it's at least we got a guy. Like we have someone who is a 4-star. This is an All-American. Like he's not going, he's not a top 50, top 35-star kind of guy, but you have a darn good 4-star All-American quarterback. Exhale. I'll also mention, not a done deal. I want to throw that disclaimer. But I think there is reason to get excited if you're a Notre Dame fan finally about the totality of this recruiting class in 2023. My personal opinion, if you get Minchie, you hold on to Peyton Bowen, and you add a couple more of these pieces, you're Brandon Hillman, Khalil Barnes, Caleb Smith, some of these guys, you go flip Chris Tarek from Wisconsin. I think this might be Notre Dame's best recruiting class since 2013. At least, definitely on paper. Notre Dame hasn't signed a top 5 class since 2013. I think this would be Notre Dame's best recruiting class in a long time.
Do you think that just the commitment here with Minshew, with a top 15 quarterback, would that ascend them to even maybe number 2 or number 1 in our rankings?
No. Chris, you pull up the 2023 recruiting rankings. I think that the top 2 spots, I think it's typically just between Alabama and Georgia, and I know Texas A&M was up there last year, but I think if Notre Dame signs a top 5 class, like that's kind of the barometer of like, all right, this is a darn good class. I don't think it's like the recruiting rankings aren't the be all end all, right? We all know that, but still, it's like a top 5 class on paper, something you can point to. It's something like it's data. Like this is data. Rankings are guesses and they're projections and subjective. We all know that, but top 5 class is something at least a little bit tangible to see the jump in recruiting from Brian Kelly to Marcus Freeman. Does that make sense, Trey?
Yeah, no doubt. And
I think
like you said,
top 5. Because to sign a top 5 class, think about all the programs that are vying for that. You got your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Oklahoma, your Ohio State, your Clemson. So we look at 2022, that was the number 6 class in the country. And that class kind of felt like, yeah, it's really good, but it was a really deep class. I think this 2023 cycle has a little bit more star power. And there's that solid, like I think last year's class had a ton of just solid 4 stars in that 200 to 300 range. This year, you got more of your high-end 4 stars. Your Christian Gray, your Micah Bell, your Brennan Vernon. I'm fired up right now. I really think that this is a special recruiting class. Goodness gracious, Jeremiah Love, Braylon James. So it's more of that 75 to 125 spots nationally, whereas last year was more of like that 200 to 250. It's just your 4 stars are more high end, and then you have some 5-star guys like Charles Jagestow's not a consensus 5-star, or at least that on 3 consensus, but he's a 5-star per on 3. Peyton Bowen is a consensus 5-star now, and of course on 3's had him as a 5-star for a while. There's just so much to be excited about right now.
It's an exciting time. And like you said, these rankings, subjective to a point, yes, but
not to a point, they're just subjective.
But when you see your team in the top 5, the confidence that I think you should have, and the amount of skill guys, the Jaden Greathouses, you went down the list there, and the defensive help in this class as well. It is an exciting class and something to get fired up about. And if they were to add Kenny Minshew, like things look like they might go down that road here at this point. What an outstanding class. Even without him, such a great class here. And some great comments as well. I see Joey Magdigan loving Mike's opinions. I agree. And in a moment, Mike, I want your opinion on the World Cup. The World Cup that begins on Sunday. It's going to be Ecuador and Qatar, known as one of the greatest events in the world, one of the best game day experiences across the globe. But hey, guess what? The best game day experience in the country can be in the palm of your hands, guys. You got to check out the Leprechauns Game Day at Notre Dame. It's an officially licensed children's book that describes the beautiful pageantry of a football Saturday at Notre Dame. This book is inspired by the former Leprechaun himself, Mike Brown. You can follow the Notre Dame Leprechaun on an adventure from step off into the tunnel and onto Notre Dame's field as he leads the team to an Irish victory. All you got to do is visit www.lepgameday.com and enter the code BG, like blue and gold, BG22, to get your author signed copy today. Again, guys, that's www.lepgameday.com. Enter the promo code BG22, and you're going to get a personally signed copy of the Leprechauns Game Day at Notre Dame. The holiday season is here, guys. This is a perfect Christmas gift, and it is guaranteed to delight the Irish fan in your life. And like we said, Mike, this class alone is enough to delight Irish fans all over. So to go along with it, guys, check out the Leprechauns Game Day at Notre Dame, www.lepgameday.com. BG22 is your promo code there. As we continue here, Mike, and real quick, I don't know if you're much of a soccer guy.
I've become a huge soccer guy.
What's the
prediction? It pains me a little bit to call it soccer because I know folks in Europe don't like calling it that. But yeah, what else am I going to call it here?
Who's going to win the World Cup?
I think Brazil. Brazil has the 2 best goalies in the world, And Allison and the keeper from Man City, Edison, I think I don't remember his last name. Dude, I mean, it's outstanding. France is outstanding as well. Man, England, I think is probably going to make a deep run. You know what? They'll probably get upset early. USA, we got a decent squad this year. I think we'll get out of the group stages, maybe win a round in the knockouts. I'd say France or Brazil.
I like it. France maybe to repeat in this one, no matter who wins the World Cup. Notre Dame has already won over some of these big-time recruits, like we mentioned in the class of
transitions, Trey.
Let's talk about the defensive lineman, Mukim. I want to mess that one up. And thank you for the pronunciation guide there on our rundown today. What are your expectations here as he will be on campus as well this weekend?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through quickly the Notre Dame commits who will be on campus. Mukim flipped from Stanford to Notre Dame. This 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds. So he flipped from Stanford to Notre Dame in August. Kind of sight unseen. He hadn't been to Notre Dame. This will be his first time on campus. It's that all expenses paid official visit. So it'll be good for him to get that firsthand experience. He loved Notre Dame growing up. He's a Canadian young man and just kind of followed the Fighting Irish. So when Notre Dame came into the picture, rather easy flip for him. Drake Bowen, let me pull this up, guys. This is pretty interesting. This will be, according to my count, Drake Bowen's 19th recruiting visit to Notre Dame. 19. That's so many times. I think he basically does live at Notre Dame at this point. In my visitor preview article, I started writing it this morning, and I'll post it on our website on Thursday afternoon. He needs a parking spot at this point. I mean, he's at Notre Dame so much. And I might be missing a visit or two. Like seriously, like the young man has been to campus so much. Christian Gray. I'm going to pull up a tweet if I can, Chris, or you just pull up my Twitter. I tweeted it today. If you can do that, Chris. It's a 6-hour drive from St. Louis to South Bend. This weekend will be his 11th trip to Notre Dame. 11.
My goodness.
I mean, just kudos to that young man. Let me see if I can actually. Let's see. Can Singer figure this out? There it is. There's my tweet. 6-hour drive. We talk about the shiny toys. Like we're spending most of the show talking about Kenny Minchie, right? It's a new shiny toy. We don't talk do you remember when Christian Gray committed to Notre Dame over LSU, a school that has claim to DBU, Ohio State, a school that has claim to DBU, and USC? I mean, it's LA, right? APEC Notre Dame. Like, we don't talk about Christian Gray enough. This is a big time player. Top 100 recruit. You absolutely love it if you're Notre Dame fan. So
top 10 cornerback.
Top 10 cornerback in the country. So I think Gray, your Drake Bowen, your Brennan Vernon, guys we just don't talk about enough. Brennan Vernon playing for a state title this Friday night. Good luck to him. Charles Jagisaw, another one. Like Notre Dame's like top offensive lineman on the board. Him and Sullivan Absher, like you get those guys. We don't talk about them. When's the last time we talked about Sullivan Absher? Big time gets for Notre Dame. What if Notre Dame had 0 commits at this point and all these guys were uncommitted? They would all be massive recruits for Notre Dame. Like, look at these rankings. We'd be so excited to talk about them. But because they committed early, it's just like, yeah, like he's committed. Yeah, whatever. Very exciting players. Jagisaw will be back on campus. And then 2024 quarterback CJ Carr on Irish's commit in the next class at that signal caller position. He will make his 10th visit. 10. I mean, just flocking to South Bend. I texted somebody close to him, and I was like, can you believe that this is going to be his 10th visit? And they said, 10? Really? That seems high. It's like, well, he racked up 4 visits this summer alone. So that kind of, increase that number big time. But yeah, it's going to be definitely good for CJ Carr to get back on campus, his 3rd game day visit this fall.
Yeah, I mean, and CJ Carr. We talked about Drake Bowen. There's a lot of guys that are just making visits. And I know Carr, Bowen in different classes, but have you seen guys in recent memory that have visited to this extent?
Hmm. Well, Notre Dame's such a national brand, right? So, like Rico Flores, Notre Dame's receiver for commit from Northern California, I think he's been to campus once. So it can be tough, but when you have Midwest guys like Carr, Jagisaw, Gray, their drives, Drake Bowen. So yeah, it's just it's easier for them. Like just trying to think in recent years. Blake Fisher, Notre Dame starting right tackle. He's from Indianapolis. He visited Notre Dame a ton. So yeah, it's often just the guys who can just kind of make that quick drive, but it's just so impressive that Gray 6 hours. 6 hours. So Gray's first visit to Notre Dame, I think, was in June of 2021, right? He's been again Notre Dame 10 times. It's 6 hour drive, maybe 6.5 hours to Tampa, where my family's at. I highly doubt I've gone and seen my own family 10 times since June of 2021. Think about it like that.
It's amazing. It makes you feel confident, in how committed these guys are to being around the program early on here. 6 hours, though. I mean, a 12-hour round trip. Christian Gray, if you have any podcast suggestions, music, anything, please let me know, because it's well-traveled man there. Wow. Mike, as we wrap it up here, I mentioned we wanted to get to some questions. I see one at least that I'd like to get to here. Started early on from Adam B. Talking about any edge rushers that may replace a guy like Keon Keeley in this 2023 class as it continues to wrap up here.
Yeah, I think they're going to go more of the routes of, like, I know they offered a PWO, like a preferred walk-on guy from Maryland, I want to say recently. I think they're gonna go that route, and then also bring in. I think they're gonna go the transfer portal. So I don't know they're gonna go get an edge like that weak side end that Keeley is committed at, like a true replacement. I think it'll be transfer portal / preferred walk on.
Yeah. It's going to be such a fun class to talk about for years to come. And as we get closer to signing day, really covering all of these signings and hopefully some more commitments as well here as we get closer. Like Mike said earlier, not going to be here next week. It is Thanksgiving, so enjoy some family time and enjoy some good food. And whatever your favorite side item is, please enjoy that as well. We will be back after that. And like Mike said, all kinds of shows, coverage, and everything with Notre Dame recruiting is going to be here on our YouTube page and on blueandgold.com as well, guys. Go check that out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, and hit that like button for me one more time on the way out. And be sure, www.lepgameday.com, get your copy of the Leprechauns Game Day at Notre Dame as well. Until 2 weeks from now, I guess, Mike. We'll see you then. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Go Irish.